And finally, on to our Impact Award. Today's Impact Award is the Nadinne Cruz Community Engagement Professional Award, which recognizes an exemplary community engagement professional who has demonstrated collaboration with communities focused on transformative change, a commitment to justice-oriented work, and an impact on the larger movement to build ethical and effective community engagement locally, regionally, nationally, and internationally. The award is named in honor of Nadinne Cruz, a leader of community-based experiential learning and an innovator of the movement for the public purposes of higher education. I had the privilege of meeting Nadinne for the first time in 2017 when she was my interview buddy during an intergenerational gathering of community engagement practitioners. It was truly the experience of a lifetime. I was super nervous, she was super awesome. It worked out. Nadinne Cruz is a veteran practitioner, leader, speaker, and advocate for community-based learning for social justice in U.S. higher education. She is often referred to as a pioneer, but Nadinne prefers to identify as an early experimenter with many failures during the years when a scholarship and practice of engagement as we know it today did not exist. Having officially retired for many years, and as she enters into her mid-70s, Nadinne is exploring how to be present and useful as an elder in both professional and family circles. If a title is needed, Nadinne identifies herself simply as a citizen at large of Homeland Earth. She is actively living up the question of what these two terms mean in theory and practice. She's been a leader in the field and has publications and recognitions to show for it, and she's also one of the kindest souls I've ever met. I'm honored to introduce to you Nadinne Cruz.
Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. I just said in my first language, good afternoon to all of you. And maraming salamat. Thank you very much to Nicole for your kind words and introduction. I'm very happy to be present. I was very enthusiastic to meet Dr. Jamilah Ducar as the honoree. I'm going to read first a description of her work and her context for this honor. Dr. Jamilah Ducar is Assistant Vice Chancellor of the Engage Campus through the Office of Engagement and Community Affairs, or ECA, for the University of Pittsburgh. I quote from a chapter co-authored by Dr. Ducar and Dr. Darren Ellerby in a recent publication edited by Ellen Clow, Andrea Tully, and my good friend Elaine Ikeda, entitled Reframing Community Engagement in Higher Education. They write, quote, ECA's mission is to champion community engagement efforts across the Pitt system. ECA facilitates strategic community initiatives, leads the university's place-based engagement in the city of Pittsburgh, collaborates with the provost's office to support engaged scholarship, maintains positive relationships with the neighbors and organizations closest to our campus footprint, and ensures that Pitt is a partner and asset to communities locally and globally. ECA maintains and grows its institutional value through relationship management, convening and connecting a diversity of stakeholders interested in the power of partnered efforts. I was exhausted just reading all that they do. But as stated in her speaker bio, Dr. Ducar leads efforts that advance Pitt's capacity to be a visible and responsive collaborator within its local communities. She does lots of stuff. She's all over the place, so I'm sure you have seen her and felt her presence. Her doctoral dissertation explored organizational development for an engaged campus, informed by the experiences of community engagement professionals at an urban state-related research university. Okay, now that we've established that she has earned the doctoral degree, I will drop the title doctor and refer to our honoree as Jamie. She reports directly to Pitt's Vice Chancellor of Engagement and Community Affairs, who is Dr. Lena Castillo, and who I quote, Quote, Jamie is the most astute, ethical, and effective community engagement professional that I have had the privilege to work with. Her excellence in administration is only surpassed by her commitment to ethical and just engagement, unquote. That is high praise from someone known for her depth of scholarship and experiences in the field. In honoring you and your work, Jamie, I offer a story. Let me begin by invoking Leslie Marmon Silko, an American writer of Laguna Pueblo descent, in her book, Ceremony. Let the story unwind like a long thread. And also something that has stayed with me from Trinity Minha, professor of gender and women's studies at the University of California, Berkeley, and is a filmmaker, composer. She says, storytelling is the oldest form of human transmission of moral truths. And I quote from her book, Woman, Native, Other. Quote, the story began long ago. It is old, older than my body, my mother's, my grandfather's. For years, we have been passing it on so that our daughter and granddaughters may continue to pass it on, so that it may become larger than its proper measure. The story never really begins nor ends, even though there is a beginning and end to every story, just as there is a beginning and end to every teller. So here's the story. You and I, we got to know about each other while breaking bread, and it took about 3 hours to break bread because we told too many stories. We each shared the one highlight that I will share here. We shared our story of quitting college early in our college life. There you were at Carnegie Mellon, doing science, mathematics, all the STEM stuff, all the right things for computer science degree, and you quit. Well, your parents were not very happy, but you didn't have a game plan and you didn't know what to do next. Well, that was me, when I was 18 years old, 57 years ago, a freshman at the University of Philippines. I did not know about the realities of a challenged country, as I had been placed in a Catholic convent boarding school to correct my, quote, independent ideas, unquote. Students were in the forefront of fighting against what became a dictatorship. Convinced that it was a do-or-die situation, I quit school to become a full-time volunteer and social justice movement worker. This is how I met Mang Ando. Ando is his shortened form name. I don't know the long name. Mang is like saying Mr. He was a peasant leader whose entire village would be destroyed because an agribusiness claimed title to land they had lived on and stewarded for decades. I was a volunteer with a free legal assistance group. The peasants didn't want to have anything to do with this expert legal assistance group, who wanted them to go through the court system to fight. The experts insisted. The peasants who wanted to simply occupy the land, a sit-down strike. They lost the case. Standing in the fields with Mang Ando, barefoot, probably barely an elementary school education, I stand next to him looking at what will be lost. His entire village will be bulldozed next day. I'm ashamed to say, but I forgive my 18-year-old self. I said foolish, selfish words. I said, Mang Ando, maybe when I go back to school, I'll take these special courses on, and then I named some law courses and sociology, a whole bunch of things that I was going to become better at helping peasants win their cases in court. I'll never forget Mang Ando's face, grave, earnest. Instead of reacting with anger, Mang Ando said, and these words are burned into me, Nadine, some things are not for you to choose. They are chosen for you to do. My 18-year-old self could not know those kind, wise, and gentle admonition would guide me for a lifetime. As an older elder myself of 75 years, I now know that Mang Ando led me to recognize the moral brilliance among many seemingly ordinary community people who are not experts, but who know what is right and act on it. If the legal assistance group had listened to Mang Ando and other peasant leaders, they might have created a winning strategy. The educated group had not known about transformational partnerships. The peasants did not have ways to resist having their narrative and agency appropriated by experts. When I think of all the complex realities that we try to identify and name as part of the community engagement professionals' work, and here I end, I offer a simple way to describe our calling, thanks to Mang Ando. As our communities, our country, our world are faced with crises, I think of the proverbial death by 1,000 cuts. We will not abide by and will not shrink back from the 1,000 cuts of moral injury. Instead, we respond with 1,000 acts of civic engagement. We will not abide by and will not shrink back from the 1,000 cuts of moral injury as we shine the light on and amplify the everyday moral brilliance of ordinary people. Together we access the entire circle of knowledge that I call democratic epistemology to repair, to strengthen, or weave anew the fabric of community, the fabric of humanity. I honor Mang Ando by sharing his story with you, Jamie. His story lives on in you.
Oh my goodness. Y'all, Fenty Beauty is only but so good. We gotta dial it back. Whew. All right. So what do you say in 3 minutes or less in a moment like this? We're storytellers, so I want to share my story. I am here today on this stage after 21 years of spectacular failure. When I started my undergraduate journey, I failed myself by not trusting my gut, by choosing a field and an institution I wasn't sure if I could trust. I moved to a city with no family, with no urban context that felt familiar, and most importantly, not a single Dominican salon to get a blowout. I tried on different majors and groups of friends outside of my chosen family, which was a tight-knit group of brilliant Black people from different places who spanned our social and interest groups outside of our designated places for DEI support. We stood in solidarity as our campus culture threatened to pull us under. I left and joined an AmeriCorps program. And I made my mother cry as I explained that I would need to enroll in food stamps to get by, to believe in myself. And then I chose a placement where I thought I would be able to work with youth at the margins. And because of the institution I came from, they locked me up in a back office and asked me to do a research project. I left, and then I begged for my first job in the nonprofit sector with no degree. And I worked for 5 years, forged in the fires of frontline crisis child welfare and systems integration. I went back to school when someone I admired told me that I was too smart to allow myself to be sidelined by the lack of a degree. And I chose a university that felt like my high school. I excelled, I gained confidence, and I realized that I could, in fact, student well. And it changed my life. I came to the University of Pittsburgh completely unaware that the field of higher education community engagement existed. I was blessed to join a team of legitimate celebrities, including Dr. John Wilds, who is the mayor of Oakland, and Dr. Lena Dostilio, an architect and scholar that I know that you all know well. Together, they built up my capacity to take on the hard work. They sharpened me through introducing me to a body of literature and a competency that gave me aspirations to shape my body of work, and they gave me the space to dream big. Against all odds, after having 2 children, experiencing a global pandemic, I received my doctorate in education from the University of Pittsburgh after 10 years after I entered a non-traditional student bachelor's degree completion program. I wouldn't have made it without support. I have deep and unending gratitude for the communities that have steadied me through the promise and peril with deep care and curiosity. And so I'm gonna run a list of thanks, so bear with me here. Nadinne, you are so inspiring. And your grace and your strength is a blueprint, Lord. Lena, John, Paul are my mentors and all of my Pitt family that are here, cameras up. ECA and Pitt Serves. I see the Place-Based Justice Network. I want to give you a shout out. Where are you in the room? You all are my respite and my strength, and I appreciate you so much. Marisol Morales, Julia Spears, Dr. Lori DeLaly O'Connor dried my tears virtually as I cried through writing my dissertation. My family and my chosen family, my mother for being in Pittsburgh and watching my boys so that I could be here today, and Campus Compact for giving me my professional home and support. Oh my goodness, all right, I'm done crying now. I'm amazed and I'm grateful. I have failed forward, and I can say proudly that I am finally unafraid of my failures. Thank you for being willing to hear my story, and we're gonna be celebrating tonight. So if you see someone overdressed and beaming, that is me, because I am finally on the other side of these remarks. So thank you all.